something I've been meaning to do, but have been putting off for quite some time. Shares the moments of our family history with anyone interested in reading it. This action is taken because I have long yearned to know more of my past, but unfortunately the possible paths have been blocked by short lives and failure on my part to ask the questions. For example, my grandpa on my father's family died 2 years before I was born. His wife died while I was an infant. My mother's dad died 3 years before my birth, and my grandma Sel, who lived over 30 more years, talked very little about her earlier life, and I guess I was too interested in sports and movies, even high school study assignments, to ask questions about those years. Oh, how I wish my poor grandparents were sitting here with me, telling me tales of the old days, and drinking coffee and eating two-ply pie.
Yeah.
A favorite Yoder snack. My goal then is to give our family some details of our life that will become part of all the family members' common knowledge. And perhaps it will elicit some questions that I can answer while still of sound mind. A debatable comment. So how do I proceed? One part of me says present the evolution of the family in chronological order. Go back as far as memory allows, and then provide family history as I lived it and remember it. However, I believe I will use that summary for a second entry. First, I begin with the details of my life with the most important person I know, my dear, loving, and loyal wife, Nicole Yoder.
Aww.
I start with Nicki because she is truly the love of my life, but also because she can help me with family details as I develop our history. So, how do I begin? Our meeting happened in 1955 when Nicki came to Albright as a bright-eyed, eager freshman, and I returned to Albright as a junior, a wily upperclassman, or so I thought. We first met at an Albright social event, a record dance, on the evening of the day that upperclassmen came back to campus. Freshmen had come earlier for orientation and placement testing. We also ended up in the same speech class. More about these early Dale and Nicki contacts later. First, I must tell you a few things about my life that are significant in my opinion as Nicki and Dale become an item. My high school years were wonderful times. Forgive me if I sound boastful. I've long preached that your accomplishments should speak louder than your words. But when you're almost 85, you don't have to follow the rules. Also, any accomplishments are so long ago, who can remember them? So I have to tell you about them. I loved being a student. Latin and plain geometry were my two favorite high school subjects. Second year Spanish left me with a B, or I would have matched Tatum's straight A high school record. Brag. Of course, sports were the central interest, and I was all league in three sports: soccer, basketball, baseball. Brag, brag. I must avert to a high school basketball story, mainly because it reveals a family trait of my dad, or maybe because it's another boastful tale. At any rate, my senior year, myself and Rob Roy of the state champion Jenkintown team were in a close race for the league scoring title. The night of our final game, we had a major snowstorm, and our game was postponed until the next week. Jenkintown, however, played, and so Roy was finished, and he was 11 points ahead of me. So I still had the postponed game to play. When we played our game, I was without a point in the first quarter. My dad, who was my high school coach for all sports, spoke on my behalf for the only time in my 4 years of high school athletics. Quote, keep playing hard and let's get Dale his 12 points. He deserves to win the scoring title. Well, I got my 12 points in the second quarter and ended up with 28. My dad and I never spoke about his comments. He always believed that he had to pick on me so my teammates wouldn't. I think he was correct. I don't know if you've noticed a glaring absence in my high school boats. Where are the girls? They were going out with my basketball teammates, Jack and Brooke and Jim and Frank. Dale was home watching TV with his mom. I had 2 dates in high school. Both were to the dance of the Flower Festival, an event that raised money to have flowers planted along the highways of our community. I had to go, said my dad, because as a junior I was second in the election for king of the festival, and as a senior I was elected king. Brag, brag. For both dances, I danced like a plow horse and spoke like one as well, which was to say nothing. Not able to brag about these disasters, those poor girls. So this was Dale when Albright began. Again, studies and sports were the emphasis. New friends were found in great numbers, Roy and Jim, Tom Pollock, and oh, so many more. The fraternity life became important, and when it came, and with it came the need to attend the rush dances of the fraternities. I decided early that I would join the APOs, Roy's fraternity, so that meant only one dance required. Again, it was a disaster. The plow horse in action, poor date, would I ever learn? Sophomore year, still no girlfriend, still a plow horse, oh my. In the second semester sophomore year, I went to Roselle Park with Roy for a party at his brother's house. After a great deal of talk and laughter, Roy revealed that I had never been kissed. And so Bob's wife volunteered, and she kissed me. Well, it was hardly the beginning of a romance for the ages, but it was a kiss from someone who was not my mother or sister. When we returned to Albright, Roy let it be known that I had been kissed. At that time, Albright had a tradition that when anyone got pinned, which is a pre-engagement, or engaged, the dining hall would serenade them with a Hoover's been pinned, Hoover's been pinned. It's hard to believe it, but Hoover's been pinned. Well, one of my fraternity brothers thought it would be cute to serenade Dale over his first kiss. So he began, Yoder's been kissed, Yoder's been kissed, etc. All the dialogue joined in. After dinner, one of my friends said, you know, Judy, who was one of the cutest girls in the school, asked me, who was the lucky girl? Shy Dale could only blush, no action.
Aww.
So this was me as my junior year began. I came back to Albright determined to overcome my shyness and act like a cool dude around the co-eds. As we upperclassmen settled in, the greetings and discussion on how the summer went soon gave way to an evaluation of the new females on campus. One Baltimore beauty seemed to be at the top of the list. Quote, she's truly a 10 in every way. Quote, she looks like Doris Day. Quote, she has no current boyfriends, etc., etc. Well, normally the jukebox dance had little appeal for me, but with my new attitude and raving descriptions of this Baltimore beauty, I had a change of heart. I wanted to see for myself. Entering the social room, it was easy to spot a large group of Albright men surrounding only two females, and Nicki was one of them. Those of you who read my Shallow Creek Gang story, where Dan meets Melody and exhibits all the coolness of a forest fire, well, that was Dale in real life when he was introduced to Nicki. High was the extent of my, quote, cool talk. And then everyone else in the group took over. After we left the dance and returned to the frat house, I remember telling Tom I was impressed with Nicki, but doubted she even remembered my name. The plow horse was back to his plowing. But Dame Fortune smiled on this shy farm boy. At speech class the following Monday, who should be sitting next to me but Miss Nicki Donay. Our prof, Dr. Shirk, greeted us and then asked the 30 members of the class to introduce themselves. For some reason, I thought she might ask someone to repeat the names of the students, and so I was very careful to commit all the names to memory. And lo and behold, Dr. Shirk said after the introduction, quote, I'm sure no one can repeat the names now, but try to learn them as we study together. Well, I can, said Shy Dale. I then proceeded to name my classmates, greatly impressing the beauty sitting next to me, and causing Dr. Shirk to exclaim, well, I'll be. My Brainy Boy Dale could do it. Brainy Boy Dale was the reference she continued to use throughout the semester, and it frequently caused Nicki to shake her head. A jealous gesture, but my good luck still wasn't over. For the next class assignment, she asked two people to interview each other and then introduce the person to the class. She paired Nicki and me and then made the comment, quote, I'm always buying wedding presents for people I put together in this class. Well, we reminded her of her comment on the wedding invitation we later sent. I end this description of our speech class union by telling you that in my introduction speech, I told the class of Nicki's past, the Europe connection, the Baltimore home, etc., and ended by saying, quote, she now lives in Selma Hall and her phone number is, pause. Oh no, I'm saving that for myself, end of quote. And the next day I used it, asking her to go to lunch, and then the next day, do you want to go to a movie? And then let's go to Pete's for a root beer and pizza. And just like that, she pulled me out of my shell, and we were on our way to love and marriage.
Aww.
Wow, what a magic woman.
Wow. That's amazing.
As far as I got.